be wondering, what is the next skill for you to learn after you've done major scale in of 12 keys? Well, if you haven't seen that tutorial on how to play major scale in of 12 keys, I'm going to drop the link in my description box or the link up here. Before we dive deeper, I need you to understand this. On the piano, we have several keys and there are several scales or modes attached to it. So, for example, let's pick the key C. I can play the major scale, which you already know. I can still play the parallel minor. I can still play modes, for example, Dorian. I can still play diminished scale, just to the key of C alone. I can play diminished scale. Then I can also play relative minor. There are a lot of scale that is attached to each of the keys on the piano. So, in other words, it simply means that every scale you want to play musically has a chord, and every chord has a scale. I'm still going to break down this, and that is what these jazz guys use, which means they are able to see diverse of ways in which you can approach a particular key, and that is the main fundamental of jazz playing. But in this tutorial, we are going to focus our attention on the relative minor, which is also called the natural minor. But basically, I'm sure some of you might have come across it. We have three types of minor. We have the natural minor, we have melodic minor, and we have harmonic minor. Then there is one more you can also add to it, which is called parallel minor. In this tutorial, we'll focus our attention on the relative minor, which is also called natural minor. So what is the outcome of this tutorial? You are going to learn some basic things. Number one is that proper finger number to play all these relative minor in not 12 keys. And I'm going to show you two ways in which you can view how to play this relative minor. If you pick the key of C, for example, and we move minor third to my left, you are going to get A. For those of you that understand intervals, you understand what I mean by minor third. I've also made video on this. You can check the link up here also if you haven't done that before you continue this tutorial. It's very important. Or if you don't understand minor third, you can just count 3 semitone backward from C. So which means this is my C. I'm counting 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. I will get A. Or you can move a major sixth to your right. For example, so major sixth is an interval of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 semitones. So you can likewise move major sixth to your right. So those are the two ways you can get relative minor of any key. But I always use the one to my left because it's not that far. So for example, if I pick the E flat, I count 3 semitones away from E flat downward to my left. 1, 2, 3. C is the relative minor of E. If I move on to F sharp and I count 3 semitones back to my left. 1, 2, 3. E flat is the relative minor of what? F sharp. So you can just explore that all through the key. So at the end of the day, you'll be having something like this. So if you move that in circle of fifth, you're going to have something like this. You can even play the relative minor on your left hand in circle of fifth and also play the relative major on your right hand. They form a kind of very nice, though some people might say it's weird, but to me, they form a very nice harmony in my ear. For example, look at it. Did you see that? Next. The next one. You can hear that. See the next one. You see that? And then I'm back. So you can just do that exercise. So why have they called relative minor? Well, for example, let's pick the key of C major. So why do we call this a relative minor of C? Because they both have the same common tone. And two, they have the same key signature. For those of you that understand classical music, you understand if you're asked to write, construct the relative minor of C major, you see, you don't need to put any sharp because they share the same key signature. They have the same common tones. Let me show you an example. So C now, focus your attention on all the keys or all the tones that make up the scale of C. Then if you pick the relative minor starting key, that's my C, 1, 2, 3, A, I will just start the same. If you notice, I'm playing the same keys as the one on the C major, just that I'm starting at different point, which is the sixth. If you see that, see, A is among, B is among, C is among, D among, E, F, G, A. All the tones on the major, they are also on the relative. They are also on the relative minor. So if you have to notate it based on music theory, you don't need any sharp for that. For you to play this scale without stress, you need to listen to this. Very important. So there are two ways in which you need to, or there are two things you need to consider in your mind before you can play this relative minor easily. The first is that you need to understand major scale enough 12 keys, and that's why I've taken time to do this tutorial. And secondly, you need to understand the finger number of this major scale. Very, very important. If you want to understand this relative minor fingering with ease, you need to listen to these two things. There are two ways in which you need to see it: the natural method or the music theory method. What do I mean by natural method? Let's pick the key of C, for example. If I use a natural method, I will just see it like, okay, I'm playing the relative minor, but my focus will be the combination of keys or tones that makes up the C major scale. Just that I'm starting at different points. So this is it, C. Now I'm playing the scale of C in my mind, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm starting it from another point, which is A. But I will make sure I end at A. You see? That is A natural minor, right? Then you can also think like the music theory. It means that you are seeing it from the actual key of A major, which is A major is this. So then you are now applying the rules of flattened third, flattened sixth, and seventh. So then you get your natural minor. So from the view of A major, instead of me playing C sharp, I'll play C natural, a flattened third. I'll continue with the rest. Oh, I'm getting to the C. Instead of me playing the sixth, I'll flatten the sixth. Instead of me playing the seventh, I'll flatten the seventh, and I'm back to the starting again. So that is the second view, which you can see this. But each of these views, they all have advantage. If you see it as the natural method, you are going to have problem with the finger number to use. Good. Then if you see it as the actual key, that is the key in its major, you are going to have problem in the tones to play. So it means that in your mind now is that you need to understand these two ways. And we've done the major scale on all 12 keys. I'm very sure the finger number you should be used with it. I will do the relative minor of C, which is A. Now, I'll play it and I will tell you two things that is going on in my mind. Relative minor of C. As I'm playing it, number one, I'm seeing it that I'm starting the scale of C from another point, which is A. But for the finger number to be easy so that you won't take too much time, I'm also using the finger number as the scale of A major. Now, in the key of C, you hardly notice the difference. But by the time we start moving around other keys, you start seeing the differences in what I'm saying. So which means I'm using the finger number as A major, and at the same time I'm seeing it that I'm playing the scale of C major so that I can get the keys or the tones that form the scale of A major. And that is one beautiful thing about music or jazz playing. You must learn to think multiple things simultaneously, and that broadens your view, and you're able to do a lot of manipulation. You're able to do some borrow chord. These are courses or tutorial which I'm still going to do for you. You understand borrow chord, you understand they're related and all that. So this is very important. So the next one, we've done A, natural. Okay, we are done with that. We are going to move in secular fifth. I've done that earlier on. So secular fifth after A is what? E. Good. So remember the major of E is what? G. So I'm going to see it like I'm playing the scale of G, but I'm starting from another point, which is E, the relative, but I will be using the finger number as E major. So look at it. So as I'm playing, I'm seeing it, I'm using the finger number of E major, but I'm also viewing it like I'm playing the scale of G, so that I could get the key combination that makes up the scale of what? The scale of G major. And I tell you, the clue to any instrument is for you to understand scale. So secular fifth, what is the importance on why do you always say secular fifth? Honestly speaking, secular fifth helps you a lot, because by the time you use secular fifth, it allows you to have played some of the keys you are going to play in the next scale already, some part of it. So you just need to complete it. In secular fifth, after E is what? B. So the major is D, which is, look at what I'm saying. You see, if I had used the finger number as D major, you see, I will have problems. See, you see, I will have to cross here, and it's good for the right hand, but look at my left hand, there will be problem. You see, so that is why you must think you're playing it as the scale of B. So you are borrowing the scale of B finger numbers or the fingering to play the relative minor of D. So look at it again now, slowly. Then I'm going back. So I'm just saying like I'm playing the scale of B. Remember, for both right hand and left hand, you are looking at it in both hands, not right hand play the normal one. No, you are both looking the same way. The same finger number you use in the scale of B major is the same finger number you are using for the B relative minor of D. Don't forget. So we've done A, we've done E, we've done B, secular fifth from B, F sharp. Watch it now. I will think I'm playing A major so that I can play the same keys or the same tones that makes up A major, but I'm using the fingering of F sharp. You see the difference now on what I'm saying. So F sharp relative minor or natural minor is this. Did you see that? In my mind, I'm repeating this so that you get it always. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm playing the scale of A major, but I'm borrowing the finger number of F sharp major. Did you get it now? So let's go again. Secular fifth. Let me do it again. A to E, B to F sharp. So what's the secular fifth from F sharp is C sharp. So I'm playing C sharp. Look at it again. This time around, I'll be thinking I'm playing what? E major. But I'm using the fingering of C sharp major. So look at it. Did you see that now? In my mind, I'm seeing it two ways. I'm playing the scale of E major so that I will get the keys that makes up the scale of E major, and I'm now borrowing the fingering of C sharp major on that. Okay, secular fifth from there is A flat, so I'll be moving fast now. A flat, let's go. The same rules apply. So I'm using A flat fingering, but I'm thinking I'm playing B. This is it. Okay, E flat is the next one. So E flat, the relative major is what? F sharp. The same rules apply. Did you say that? Good. Circle of fifth from E flat is B flat. So which means I'm playing B flat relative minor of C sharp. So the same fingering, which means I'll be thinking I'm using the fingering of B flat major, but I'm playing the notes that makes up C sharp major. So let's do that again. Very nice scale. Good. Now let's go to the next one. Circle of fifth will be what? F. So circle of fifth is what? C. Let me explain it again here again. C is the relative minor of what? E flat. Don't forget that. So I'll be thinking I'm playing E flat major, but I'm starting on C where I borrow the finger number of what? Of C major. You see that? Circle of fifths is going to be what? G. The same rules apply. Circle of fifths is D. So the same rules apply. And guess what? We are back. Circle of fifth from D. We are back to A. So that's all. That's all. So check out the circle of fifth again. A, E flat, B, F sharp, C sharp, A flat, E flat, B flat, F, C, G, D, and back to A. So very nice one. For those of you following my video, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about this common question, ear training. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share with friends and family. And if you have any question, you can put it in the comment section. I'm very ready to give you an answer. See you in my next class. Bye for now.